So the question for me is that if you're going to retire early, what are you going to do with your life? As you know, that I coach quite a lot of people, and they always coming back to me in my first conversation with lots of people. They always say to me that TJ, I want to retire early, or they say to me, I want to replace my income so that I can do something else. And today, I think I'm just going to come from an uncle perspective. I'm going to just pour out my heart to you because I've been on this journey where you can retire early. So for some of you, you would know I worked for many banks in South Africa when I worked in Africa. And with that, I was able to retire early. I retired before I hit 40, right? And you might be thinking that I retired and I'm not doing work. Well, you are mistaken, my friend. I am doing the work that I love, which is having these conversations with you. This is what I call impact investments. So I am growing my business with you. I am growing me. So I get to go and be in men's in training without having to do anything at all or worry about where the income is coming through from. And I think the biggest thing for many people when they are thinking of retiring early, I know a lot of you are within the age groups of around about 30 to 40, and you're thinking, maybe let me retire early. The question really is when you retire, what is it that you're wanting to do? By the way, if this is your first time coming through here, this is the TJ show. And particularly today, it's a Wednesday. We're always talking about deals, how to get deals, and so on. And we are of the firm belief that every modern parent should earn passive income through real estate. So obviously, if we're connecting the statement here in terms of how you can then retire early, we are going to utilize real estate so that you can retire early. Or should I say, we're going to utilize real assets so that you can be able to retire early. I think the biggest thing for me, it's about owning your own time. Owning your time. So many are people, you're all employed, and basically you are on a job. And within that job, you are basically do not have 10 hours of your time because of commuting or because of being in a job somewhere else. Or maybe you're in a business and that business is really holding you back. And for me, you're thinking, oh, maybe let me retire. How best can I retire? But above that, even if you're to retire, how best do you retire and you don't have an economy? Where are you going to get your money from? So I think that's the biggest thing here that we all want. How can I own my own time and how can I own my economy? Because once you have covered all of that, everything else comes into play. You can be like me, write books. You can be like me, travel the world. I am in London right now. I've been able to come through to the UK. I've been able to travel through to around about 9 cities in the United Kingdom. I speak to some people that were born here or that stay here, and they say, "Who? We have never been to those places before." And it's the benefits that I now see. I wasn't able to do that alone, but with my family as well. But we took some sacrifices for us to be here. So, in today, I'm going to show you how you can retire early. I'm going to jump in very practical. And like I did say, it might be a little bit painful for some of you to go through this process. But if you are wanting to retire early, then really lean in. I'm hoping that you got a pen and paper together. And you can replay this video as many times as you can so that you can grasp this. And you can do this. I started off exactly like this, and I have gone on to do many things that some of you know. And if you're new to this channel, hey, consume some of the stuff that's on here on the different types of videos, and you can see what I do. Read some of my books, you can see how I think. And I'm always showing you that, guys, this is how we can do it. It's not just for me, but I'm also investing in you right now. I'm spending my time to invest in you, and you're coming through to watch this. So the first thing that I want us to speak to today is more specifically, when you have decided that you want to retire early, that's a cool statement, right? When you decide that you want to retire, that's a cool statement. But when? Is it in 5 years' time? Is it in 10 years' time? I don't know, whatever age group that you are. Let's assume you're in your 30s and you say you're giving yourself 10 years. So that's a 10-year gap. But I want to zoom into a guy who's saying that, TJ, I want to retire early in my next 5 years. So this example here that I'm going to be giving you today is going to work with that. I'm going to take an assumption, a couple of assumptions. You're a young, let's say you're a young middle-class individual. You do not have lots of money, but you've got a good job, so you can go and borrow money. So number one, you got a job. Number two, you can borrow some money. And number three, you've got some money that you have saved. Some people are going to say, yeah, TJ, I've got everything else, but I do not have some savings. I'll speak to that as I go along. So how do you then retire early? Fasten up your belts. It's just about to get bumpy. This is Uncle TJ. Right. The first one is that we need to set a goal. Yes. This is going to sound a little bit hoo-hoo. It's kind of like fluffy stuff, but it's not. I'm going to go a little bit deeper as I go along. Why do you need to set a goal? You need to set a goal by knowing that you're going somewhere. You cannot say that I'm wanting to do A, B, C, D, and you do not set that goal because you never get there. If you don't set a goal, how do you know that you're going to get where you're going to get? By the time you get there, how do you know you're there? Right? So setting a goal just gives you an indication of, okay, I want to retire early in 5 years' time, and I want to have 50 grand. 5 years' time, I want to have 50 grand. Make sense? And that's a goal. Is that your goal? And if that's your goal, we have just described the goal. 5 years' time, we're going to earn 50 grand. And today, that's the goal that we have set up, and now we are going to go ahead. Step number 2, what do you need to do? Right, you need to now relook at your current finances. What do I mean by that? Well, you're going to need some money to buy these properties. So maybe you've got a little bit of bad debt somewhere there. Well, close those accounts. Maybe you've got, you have no savings at all. Remember, we spoke about savings. Maybe you have no savings at all. Well, maybe cut back on some of your stuff that you've got in your household so that you can start saving, right? You're going to need some money to educate yourself. Where you're going is unknown. You have never been there before. And you need the knowledge. I didn't get where I am now today without knowledge. I've spent thousands and thousands in US dollars, in pounds, and in rands for me to get this guy here clever, because this guy here was dumb. Yeah, he had no knowledge. And even now, I am still dumb, but I am a little bit dumber than where I want to get to, not to where I was before. Big difference. So in relooking at your finances, okay, great. So you want to have 5 properties that's going to give you 5K. There's simple things that you're going to need to do. You're going to have some savings so that you can pay for transfers. Where is that money going to come from? You're going to need some money so that you can do maybe some renovations and all of those things. So the money needs to come from somewhere. If you do not have a room in terms of relooking at your finances, maybe think about partnerships. But before you even go into partnerships, maybe think about relook at your finances and relook at your time and say to yourself, what is it that I can learn that can bring me more finances? So as an example, can you spend some time and write a book? And you can sell that book. The income from that, that's what you're going to utilize in your real estate. Can you spend some time and learn how to do drop shipping? You buy stuff from overseas. Actually, you're not buying it, but you're just being the middleman between overseas and the local. Or whatever it is. All I'm just saying is that you need to have an income, a bulk of amount of money that you're going to be doing this. So relook at your finances. If you can save up, or if you can look into your finances and say, okay, fine, I now have a stash of X, then we can go ahead. But this goal here that we're talking about, 5 years in 50K, it will not happen if you haven't relooked into your finances so that you can be able to purchase the real assets that we spoke about. The third thing is that I then want to say, You have to now make some sacrifices. There is no way where you cannot make some sacrifices today and then tomorrow doesn't become financially free. So we all need to make sacrifices today so that tomorrow it is 100% financially free for yourself, and that's how you can then get to retire. So what do I mean by taking some sacrifices? Number one, we did say that we need to relook at our finances. So maybe you're driving an expensive car where you're paying. And by the way, I really started off with this because for some of you, you may know where I come from or my journey in terms of investing and so on. There's a time when my wife and I, we used to have a car that was knocking about 10 grand out of us. And over and above that, that was no petrol and no insurance. So when we added all of those things, it used to cost us around about 15K. We literally then sent out that car so that we don't have that, and we dropped to one car. We took a sacrifice and we said we've got two cars in our household, but the one we are paying 15K and the other one we are paying zero because it was paid up. So which one should we keep? And we kept the one that was paid up. Was it a beautiful car? No. Was it a car that got us to A to B? Yes. And we took a sacrifice for the next 5 years. And if this is your goal, 50 grand to 5 years so that you can retire early, we took that sacrifice and we said, 15 grand, what can it do for us? It's an example that I'm giving you. Now you got 15 grand times 12. How much is that? So I'm just trying to give you some thoughts here, right? In terms of how you can relook at things. At a point, we literally switched off our DSTV. At a point, we cut off on certain things in our household. So basically, we started living a frugal life. You are not doing it for the rest of your life. You are only taking a sacrifice here for the next 5 years so that you can get on how you can retire early. So you're taking a sacrifice today so that for the rest of your life, you can have the life that you want to have. Boom! I said that. Then the next thing that you want to do is now you want to start learning. Right? So for some of you, you are here, you're always checking me out. Well done. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to us, it's great for you to subscribe. I hate being the side chick. You're coming here, you're getting some valuable information. You don't subscribe, but we hang out together. So subscribe. It's a good thing to do. But start learning. You are where you are today because you started learning at some point. Right? You are where you are today because you started learning at some point. So maybe let me just take an example of you being a doctor, being a teacher, being an accountant. You left high school and you went to learn a trade. That trade is giving you X amount of money today. Had you not gone to learn that trade, you would have not been earning X amount of money. It's very simple. Your goal is 50 grand in 5 years, so spend the time to learn. A lot of us, we want to get the 50 grand in 5 years, but we don't want to learn. I've got a school and you can get plugged in. It's literally 1,000 rand a month, and you can learn and you can grow, you can get coaching, but that's not the point. I'm not here to punt my school. I am just telling you that you need to learn. Start learning. You can learn from books. You can learn from podcasts like these ones. There's many ways in which you can learn, but learn in a systematic way that brings you results. Some of my guys, they're on a different program, which is 2,500 a month. And bingo, you are now in a different set of people that are being serious about their business, and we can carry on like that. So you've set the goal, you've relooked at your finances. Now you're beginning to make some sacrifices. And today you're saying, hey, TJ, I am starting to learn. So we welcome you to the world of learning. Then thereafter, we're going to say, well, the next goal is now we're going to start small. I always say start small. I always say start small. Why do I say start small? Starting small allows you to learn the process of everything. Remember when you was a doctor, when you're trained to be a doctor, they didn't give you the whole hospital to look after. They gave you one patient. You went in, we shadowed with someone else. You remember when you're an accountant, when you started, they didn't give you the whole organization to look after from an accounting perspective. They started giving you, it's the same principle, guys, right? So you start small and you start learning. The more you're learning, then you grow fast. And my happy place is that now you can smash some goals. Now you're beginning to smash some goals. So I have given you some some people will say, TJ, we've heard this, TJ, these things are always being said. Well, the thing is, if you've been listening to all of this and you're thinking it's woo-woo stuff, where's your 50K in 5 years? Nowhere, isn't it? It's because you're not taking the rightful action to this. And even though you're listening to woo-woo stuff, but you are not actually doing the work. So now that we've got this out of the way, I hope you can, guys, go back and rewind this. Like I did say today, I am feeling like that other uncle that you never had. So you're coming through to do some learning here. And this is the best learning that you can get. If you disagree with it, that's all right. If you love it, in the comments, let me know. But basically what I've given you right now, it is the route, the best route for you to a quick success. So remember we said 5 years, 50K. So how best do you practically do it now? So I've given you the framework now. So I want to now show you, is this practical? Is this practical? Yes, it is practical. How? I'm going to show you now, because remember we spoke about the goal is 50K in 5 years. So we're going to take year number 1 in learning. If you get this, remember we all learn differently. So some people you learn, you get it faster, right? Some people you're like me, you're a little bit on the slowish curve. So you need to repeat these things over and over again until you get it. That's okay, for as long as you are learning. So whilst you're now learning, I'm going to assume that's a year number 1, or let's say that's the first 6 months. And you're making all these changes within your finances, and now you've got some loose money that you got, and you've gone out to see how much can the bank borrow you and all of those things. And I've made some assumption. You can literally be able to get plus minus, let's say 2 million, or whatever the amount of money that you can get. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you some deals now in terms of how best do we make this practical. So if you've been following me, you have seen some great deals that we do here, right? Now, this is the route to you to get to where you want to get. Not long ago, I did share on this platform, and there's a video that you can actually check out. Go back to some of the older videos. I did show you a deal that one could easily buy for around about 1.6 million all in, right? If I'm not mistaken, all in, I think it was around about 1.216 somewhere there. And basically on this deal, it was in an old suburb. You were actually going to get some equity out of it. So your 1.6 was the full value price, but you're buying this for around about 800. So there was some value that you were going to get. And plus, you were going to get 6,572. So my friends, I am assuming that this is our deal number 1. We've gone out to set some goals. We've relooked at our finances so that we can have some money so that we can get a deal like this one. And we've started learning, and now we have started taking action, and this is our deal number 1. So deal number 1, bingo, in year number 1, deal number 1 is given us 6,572. So you're saying to yourself, TJ, you did say 5 years and 50 grand, but on year number 1, you're getting 6 grand. Oh, so at 5 years, for every year, I'm going to need 5 grand. Hold your horses, Karen. It's not that. Hold your horses, Karen. Let me show you. Uncle TJ is going to show you here. So year number 1, deal number 1. Let's go on to year number 2. Year number 2, you're a little bit clever, right? You're a little bit clever. You're continuing to learn. You haven't stopped. And you're getting your 6,000. But this time around, you go onto a deal. I did show you this deal. You all remember when I did this deal. I showed you this deal, and out of it, I managed to get this deal here on 1.1 million out in a box break. I eventually sold this property out. And on your year number 2, you are now on 15,000. It was a 1.1 deal that we got in, right? And you can see my numbers that I'm playing. I'm not playing for you to go and borrow millions and millions. This is 1 million. The previous one was 1 million. This one is also 1 million. So here we are. Now you're making 15K on this, and you're only on your year number 2. So which basically means that, bingo, year number 2, deal number 2, it's now getting you to 21,572. I want to give a disclaimer here, because some of you are already telling me yourself in your heads. You're having personal conversations with yourself and answering to yourself now. TJ, this is not going to work. Yes, it's not. If you think it's not going to work, it is not going to work. But guess what? I'm doing it. Boom. That's how I got to fund to be right here in the UK with my family. Boom. That's how I got to have a business in South Africa. Boom. It's not going to work? Yeah, it's not going to work for you. But here's the thing, my friend. If you're not learned in it, it's not going to work. Right? There's many people that go into hospitals, their hearts are opened up, and the doctors do many things in the heart. They close it up. For you, the layman, for you, the ordinary guy on the street, imagine opening a heart. It's impossible. It can't be done. Why? Because you're not learned. And I'm only trying to help you so that you can figure out how to get this. The only way how to get it, get the education. When you get the education, then you start to do the deals themselves. So now you're on 21,000, okay? And for me, it's not the value of the money that you've got, but the momentum in which you are taking this seriously and your education that you are now getting around this. I did share with you guys another deal that I did in Durban. Again, the video is here. I showed exactly how to do it. I showed exactly, the deal was available actually for everybody. You could have bought it. And this deal here, it was a 1.4 million and it had 3 cottages on it. Yes, the deal is gone, but I'm not saying that because the deal is gone, you can't get it. There's many other deals like this that are available. Catch the principle of doing these deals and you can go and do it. On this deal, I did indicate that there was a cash flow of 4,667. And by the way, my friends, I am not even looking at the cash flow. I'm only looking at one aspect of the deal, which is the cash flow component of it. I am not looking at equity that you're going to build. I am not looking at year number 1. When you're now on year number 2, the rent is going to grow up. The rent is going to slide up with a 5 to 10%. I am not looking at that. I am looking at our goal from a stats perspective. Is it static? No growth, no what? Can we get there? That's all I'm doing. I'm hoping that you're getting this, by the way. Give me comments in the bottom there. So this is now deal number 3. As it is deal number 3, what does it give us? Right. So our goal is to get to 5 years. And we are now on 3 years. We've got lots of learnings here that we are, but we're only halfway through the mark. Now, here is where a lot of people get stuck, and I want to help you. When you start doing something, you're an accountant, you're a doctor, you are whatever, a teacher or whoever that you are. As a parent, when you started making porridge for your kid, the first time round, it took you a couple of more minutes than usual. The more you made porridge, the more you're finding creative ways to cut the corner, and now you can do porridge in, like, let's say, a minute. And you can whip that porridge and give it to your child before they start crying. Same applies in your profession. When you started off, it took you a longer time to get to some stuff. I did say 5 deals in 5 years. The goal is 50K, right? So how then, at 3 deals in 3 years, how do we get to 50K? Well, you understand already. You can figure it out. The more you are doing some of these things more frequently, the more momentum that you get. It's a bit rhymey there, right? You all know I almost became a rapper. I lost my talent. The more momentum, right? It rhymes. The more momentum you pick up, and you start also not just being able to do things faster, but you begin to see nicer deals. You begin, because you train, your eyes are now trained, and you can see faster, and you can be able to identify good deals and all of those things. Only by starting and continuously being in the game, continuously being in a community where deals are being spoken about, continuously being in the vibe, right? Staying close to the fire. I did share with you. It's bumpy today. I know you're kicking yourself. TJ, I could have started doing this. Some of you are wanting to do this for, maybe you don't have a reason. That's why you're not getting it. You have no reason at all. You have no goal. So guess what? You just continue being a salesperson. You just continue being who you are. Some of you are too scared for paying for the education. But, let me not speak about that. Let's go back to the next presentation. Or should I say the next slide? So we're on year number 3. And now year number 4, my friends, again, another deal that I shared on this platform. And I said, guys, in Cape Town, there's a deal that I saw for 2.6. And in total, is giving profit, right? In total, it's giving profit of 41K. And those that were keen, they jumped on with me. At the time, I think this was maybe about 4 months ago. Anyway, you can check the videos. They jumped in with me. And if one person was buying this, so check here, the other deals you're buying on the 1 million-ish side. But this deal here is on 2 million. So it's on the biggish side. How do you get to be able to do that? Very simple. Now, because that your credit was allowing you only to get, let's say, 1.5, let's say 2 million. But now you've been building some equity on the side. Now you've been building further cash flow on the side. The way the banks now see you is different, my friend. The banks wants to give you more money because now you are managing this. You're showing that you can manage this. You're paying all of your debts and so on in time, and they can see that. Start opening up opportunities of selling more money to you, and bingo, you can go on to a deal like this one, 2.6, and you're banking 41 grand. And with that 41 grand, we can then re-look again at our goal. 5 years, 50K. Year number 1, we got our 6K. Things were not sharp. We were learning. That's okay. Year number 2, we got to 15 grand. We got lucky. Or we were prepared. We had the drive. Year number 3, we got not so much of a great deal. And year number 4, because we're still in the game, boom, we smashed it. We even smashed it. We smashed it. We are now what? Let me see. What number is this now? We are now on 67,990. So here's the thing. Here is the thing. Whilst we are at this amount of money in this time of period, I am not saying that the tenants will pay all their rent on time. I didn't say that. I said the goal is 50K, 5 years. I just demonstrated to you how you can do it. I just demonstrated the steps that you need to do from a framework perspective and practically how you can do it. I can give you, this is a skeleton that I've given you. Now I can give you the meat if you come to school, right? If you come to school, I can give you the meat. You connect the meat, bingo, you go and do it. For you, as a parent, like it is, I always say, I am of the view that, not I am of the view, here on this channel, we are of the view that every modern parent should earn passive income from property. That's our thing. With the real assets, you can earn a passive income. So As the plane lands, my friends, we are going in to finish off here, but don't switch off on me, right? I want to give you some gold as I land the plane. We're about to dock the ship here for this evening. And what I want to say to you here is you can take the risk today and start doing. You can take the risk today and start doing. Or you can continuously being on the side of the sideline of the game and you can cheer others and you will not be able to retire early. You will still be in the same job, maybe for a different company. Maybe you're getting a 15% increment, a 20% increment, whatever it is, but you will not be able to retire early. Imagine what you can do with your valuable time too if you retire early. Owning your own time. I did say earlier on, what's the whole thing here? Own your own time, own your own economy. That is gold. Imagine not having to wake up at weird times that you wake up. Why? Because you got an economy that can support you. By the way, I did say this is a framework, yeah? So a framework just basically means that if you are wanting to get 50 grand, you can put more fuel on this. It can still give you the 100 grand. If you want 200 grand, it's up to you. I have given you the skeleton of this thing, and now you can make it work for yourself. And if you're one of those people that are saying, TJ, I want in on this, teach me, brother, how to do this. In the comments, I've got a link. In that link, you can basically just follow it and follow our education side. And within that education side, bingo, you can start learning. Choose an option that works for you, what you can afford in terms of your learning abilities, and bingo, you start learning, you get to your goals, you smash your goals, and like everybody else who is in the Hall of Fame playlist, they are smashing their own goals. Simple, right? That's what it is. My friends, it's been great hanging out with you. I really hope that this has been of valuable information. Like I did say, this is like coming from an Uncle TJ to you, hoping that you got this, right? But if this is still fuzzy, I got you. Come to school. We'll teach you how to do these deals. I'm doing these deals. I'm doing it with my partners. I've been doing it in South Africa. Now I'm planning to do it out of the country. There is no limit. You can do this, right? That's all I'm saying. Until we meet again, it is I, your boy,